Joe, if the Treasury head is right and there is a $20 to $40 billion shortfall in taxation revenue from what the Treasurer has been saying, would you then be saying, well, then it's going to be too big a problem for me? I might better be in surplus if it's as bad as what the head of Treasury says.
Well, Robert, what you're presenting to me is completely at odds with what the government released in its last mid-year and economic and fiscal outlook. So if there is a significant change, the government's effectively saying there's no way it's going to get to surplus next year.
But they may, of course, fiddle it. You know what governments do. Both parties, they bring expenditure forward and they defer it and do all sorts of things. But if the head of if the head of Treasury is right, then there is a deep problem that both treasurers face, both the current treasurer and if you were to be elected yourself.
And Bob, the issue here is the government's last released data says that they are going to have a surge of $34 billion in extra taxes in the next 6 months. Right? That's how they're going to get back to surplus in the next financial year. Now, if Martin Parkinson's speech or statement says that that money isn't there, then why on earth is the government still saying it is committed to a surplus next financial year? In order to achieve $34 billion in 1 year of savings, the government is only going to do it by cuts. They're not going to do it by cuts in expenditure. And from our perspective, what we're saying is with $370 billion of expenditure each year, we can find savings to pay for our promises. We can do that. But when it comes to revenue, the most volatile area of revenue is company tax. Effectively, personal income tax is on a slow growth, but it's not as volatile as company tax receipts. And what's happening is that the government says, in its public pronouncements, it's still determined to get to surplus next year. Its latest figures say it is going to get to surplus next year based on higher tax revenue. And I understood Martin Parkinson to be saying that governments across the country are going to find it hard to have large surpluses into the future.